As those of you who've watched some of my past videos might already know, before I was a YouTuber, my primary pastime on Roblox was building Roblox games. I didn't know how to script to save my life, and I still don't because Lua is a hellish programming language that you should only learn if you hate yourself, but I was a pretty okay builder, and I was able to use my skills to score a few commissions off the developer forum. Most of the commissions I received were pretty standard. I'd build a thing for someone, they'd pay me some Robux in return, and then we'd go our separate ways. But one was different. So different, in fact, that it changed the course of my Roblox journey forever, acting as the catalyst for me taking up trading, being able to say that I helped build a game that garnered over 7.8 million visits, and ultimately quitting building altogether. And that's where our story begins. In January of 2021, I was browsing the dev forum looking for commission work to do when I came across a post made by a person known as Royal. The futuristic project, multiple vacancies, long-term, USD/Robux, $2,000 budget. Big project, hiring now. The post has since been edited as spots filled and new positions on the team were needed, but the title should give you a general idea of the goal of the post. He was looking for someone to build a futuristic prison map called Prison X Penitentiary for him, and he had a total of $2,000 to split among whoever he hired as payment, to be paid out in either USD or the equivalent value in Robux. Now up until this point, I was used to getting paid anywhere from a few hundred to a couple thousand Robux per commission, and that was pretty much what I thought my skill level was worth at the time. To say that I felt out of my depth reading this post was an understatement. I did not think I would get this job at all. There were much better builders than me out there, and with the amount of money Royal was pitching here, I was sure at least one of them would apply and blow me out of the water. But as they say, it never hurts to try. So I sent him my portfolio and awaited a reply. And after passing a skill test he threw at me, somehow I got the job. Since I didn't have my own bank account at the time, instead of paying me my portion of the $2,000, he gave me a copy of the limited Playful Vampire Face, which was worth around 50,000 Robux at the time. This was more Robux than I'd ever dreamed of getting in my life. I was ecstatic, over the moon about it. And then I got hacked out of it a month later, but you can learn more about that in another video. There was just one problem. For some reason, he decided to pay me and the rest of the group before the project was even close to being completed. We were very happy to receive the payments, as you can probably imagine, but it pretty much sucked all motivation out of the project since we'd already been paid and there was nothing we were really working towards anymore. I tried to keep up the pace as much as possible, but the rest of the team became less and less responsive and the project slowed to a crawl, stagnated, and eventually broke apart. I felt bad about the whole thing, but what was done, and there wasn't really anything for me to do but take the 50k and move on. And that's where I thought my association with Royal would come to an end. So you can imagine my surprise when, a little while later, he came back and asked me to do another project. Now, this was nowhere near as intensive as building a whole map from scratch. All he wanted me to do was build a few assets for a simulator game. I could only assume that a simulator was his newest project and that he just needed a builder to make a few things to start out the game while he looked for someone else to work full-time on it. I'd proven that I wasn't a good person to ask to build an entire game, but I guess he still trusted me enough to do some small things for him. I only got paid a few thousand Robux this time around, but that was still a lot more than many other devs might have given me for the same size job, so I was still pretty happy. I sent over the assets, and he went off on his merry way, never to be seen again. Until he came back and offered to pay me to move some things around in an SCP containment map that he sent me. And then the pattern just kept continuing. He would send me maps he needed work done on or things he needed built. I would do the things he asked and he would pay me for it, usually anywhere from 2,500 to 5,000 Robux. It seemed that Royal wasn't actually just an aspiring game developer looking to create a futuristic prison game as I had thought, but instead a sort of manager who would be hired by random game devs to recruit and pay people to do certain tasks for them. One job he gave me was to optimize a mental asylum map he sent me, and the map had signs throughout it that were labeled Foxtrot. It was the Foxtrot mental asylum from the game Asylum Roleplay, which was very popular at the time. At the time I suspected he had stolen it and was paying me to sort of launder the map. It was only later that I realized I had contributed to a wildly popular game with millions and millions of visits. But I didn't really contribute in a noticeable way. All I had done was optimize the map. Take out some unions where there shouldn't have been unions, remove some unnecessary parts, reduce lag. In general, even though I was working on some very high-profile games, you'd never really know because my edits were always so minuscule. I'd started taking on all this work during the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic, during which online schooling was in full swing and the work was pretty lax. However, by this point, regular school was beginning to resume, and with that came less and less time to build. As such, it eventually became impossible for me to work within the deadlines Royal was requesting, and our relationship sadly had to end. I'd done all this work for all these games, and all I had to show for it was a bunch of Robux and a very sleep-deprived brain. No one besides me and him would ever know of my contributions. A little sad, if you ask me. But before I left, he had one last job for me to do. Royal sent me a map for a rap battling game, similar to the incredibly popular game Auto Rap Battles, wherein 2 players are made to rap battle against each other and the rest of the players in the server are made to vote on who the best rapper is. A very simple concept, which makes it very easy to rip off. There are several rap battling games out there now, all of which share the same basic game mechanics as Auto Rap Battles, and many of which have somehow garnered millions of visits. And the game I'd be working on would be the newest contender for a piece of that Auto Rap Battles clout pie. But it needed work. A lot of work. The game I was sent was essentially a box containing a rapping stage, some Game Pass buttons, and a VIP lounge. There wasn't much to do in it other than rapping, and as a result, the game simply wasn't interesting enough. After all, that description is literally what Auto Rap Battles is, so there was no real reason for people to play this game over ARB. Royal wanted me to add as many things as I could think of that people could do while they were waiting to rap. He didn't really set me a deadline for it, he just said that he wanted it done. So I did my best. I added an obby. I added a secret room inside the obby. I added a spleef room. I added a sword fighting arena. I added an underground sewer hangout. I added a rooftop pool. At the request of Royal, I also expanded the stage so the game didn't have such a trapped boxy feel to it. It was a lot of work, but it paid off. By the time I was done with it, the map had expanded tremendously in size, and there was lots of stuff to do and plenty of room for even more expansion in the future. I made that underground hangout area, for example, with the expectation that they would add a quest-giving NPC down there and possibly introduce a storyline to the game. Royal seemed very happy with my ideas and add-ons, and I think in the end our relationship ended on a high note. That was the last time I ever talked to him. But the best part was that I had finally made a noticeable contribution to a very popular game. By following a Game Pass ID I yanked from the game's scripts, I was able to find the actual game, and as it turned out, it had a few million visits under its belt. And because I did this a few days after I handed in the finished map to Royal, the map had been updated, and I was able to see the large player base of the game running around in my own work. I was super happy about this. I told everyone I knew about it. I took screenshots in the game. I directed people to the little signature I'd left on one of the columns of the game so I could gloat about it. It was easily the coolest project I had ever worked on up until that point, and to this day, I'm super thankful to Royal and the developers of this game for allowing me to leave such a lasting mark on the Roblox game development community. Anyway, then I forgot about it for 2 years. It was great to have done all that, don't get me wrong, but after it was all done, I kinda just had to move on. I hadn't been invited to work on the game full-time or anything, and rap battling games aren't exactly my cup of tea, which you probably could have gathered just by me using the phrase, aren't exactly my cup of tea, so I kinda just had to hang it up on my mental wall of achievements and then carry on with my life. So that brings us to a few weeks ago. I was going on about my usual day, editing one of my videos, when out of nowhere, the memory of that rap battling game popped into my head, and I wondered how it was doing now. Did the owners take my advice and make a story mode? Was the game full of players still, or had it died out? Tentatively, I searched the words rap battles in the search bar, and the game wasn't there. This was a little weird. With the millions of visits it had, even if it was completely dead, it should have come up when its name was searched, but as I scrolled down the list of results, it was nowhere to be found. At first I thought this might have been it, but no, the map was completely different, and no offense, not nearly as good as the one I had worked on. I knew the game had some badges, but 2 years ago when I got those, I was still heavily in the hobby of badge collecting, and as a result, those badges are now buried underneath tens of thousands of others I've collected at this point, so I couldn't find the game through there. I couldn't use my DMs with Royal either, because I unfortunately deleted them after Royal's original Discord account was deleted. I honestly thought I might never be able to find this game again. And then I remembered something very useful. The shared with me section of Roblox Studio. When I had worked on the rap battling game, I wasn't working on the actual game. I was working at a copy of it that Royal owned and had shared me access to. But there's no way he would still let me have access to it after all this time, right? That would be a major security risk, wouldn't it? Surely he would have kicked me out of the project as soon as my work had been completed so that I couldn't, steal the entire game and claim it as my own. Right? Wrong. There it was, a complete and professionally built and scripted rap battling game, sitting in the palm of my hand. I could see all the map improvements I had made, the rooftop pool, the obby, the spleef room, the secret room, the sword fighting arena, the underground hangout, the expanded stage. The fact that my building really wasn't as good as I thought it was, and they definitely should not have let me be in control of a game with such a high player count at the time. So, what happened to it all? Why couldn't I find it in search? I went into the scripts, pulled another Game Pass ID, pasted it into the search bar, and 999 million Roblox obby, escape RBX obby, free VIP diamond emoji. This doesn't look like a rap battling game. Also, it's private now, what the frick? Yeah, not only did they for whatever reason private the game, but before they privated it, it seemed like they decided to employ the advanced marketing tactic of making its thumbnails, title, and description look like every 9-year-old's YouTube history. You'd never know that this was a rap battling game if you came across it in the wild. They basically took the game that I poured all of my hard work into and scrubbed it off the face of Roblox. I know I hadn't thought about the game in 2 years, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little devastated here. This was my one massive contribution to the world of Roblox game developing, and it didn't even last on Roblox for 2 years before they killed it off. Why would they do this? As a matter of fact, who was even behind this in the first place? Who made this game? Who were Meteor Studios? I had to find out. So when you click on Meteor Studios, you find that it's locked. I wonder why. But thankfully we do have a few Wayback Machine snapshots of both the group and the game to go off of. So without further ado, here's a quick mini deep dive into the history of Meteor Studios. On an unknown date, likely somewhere around mid-2019, a young, fresh-faced developer by the name of Meteoristic founded Meteor Studios. It didn't look like much at first, but little did we know at the time that Meteoristic had something many up-and-coming group founders don't have: a dream, a vision. And that vision was to make a generic simulator game. Meteor Studios' first game was Popsicle Simulator, a game where you earned money by licking popsicles so that you could use it to buy better popsicles to lick, which earned you more money to buy better popsicles until you either became the supreme popsicle licker of the universe or your tongue falls off, I guess. You could also deliver popsicles to other people and earn money that way if you wanted to be an actual functioning member of society. Basically, if you've played a simulator game before, you already know how this worked. It was very unoriginal. It was pretty much just a combination of Peas Pod's Ice Cream Van Simulator and Buckaboo Games' Ice Cream Simulator, but with way less features. Because simulator games were generally very popular at the time, Popsicle Simulator was able to gain a few million visits despite its genericness, but such trend-based success couldn't last forever. We don't really know when, thanks to a glitch on the Wayback Machine's part, but at some point between March of 2020 and February of 2021, it was down to only 6 concurrent players. To say that it was treading water was an understatement. Now, here's where it starts to get weird. For most game developers, if they see that their game is dying, their first instinct is normally to make a big update to the game, or advertise the game more, or if they don't feel like running the game anymore, at the very least announce a shutdown and then close the game. Any successful game, even if it's dying, has fans that value and appreciate it, and game developers have a responsibility to appreciate those fans back and do their best to maintain the game for them as much as possible. What most game developers wouldn't do is, out of nowhere, replace their game with a completely different game and act as though the original game never existed. Not our friend Meteoristic, though. That's exactly what he did. At some point between March of 2020 and February of 2021, Popsicle Simulator fans went to play their favorite game only to find that the place had been transformed into rap battles. The lack of respect toward its predecessor was pretty blatant. The badges for rap battles even used the old icons from Popsicle Simulator for a time. All of the work that Popsicle Simulator's millions and millions of former players had done in the game was wiped out in an instant just because the game wasn't performing well anymore. Knowing all of this information about the game's past kind of almost makes me regret making that map for the game, because in doing so, I helped erase part of so many Robloxians' histories. But regardless of all that, in the end, Meteoristic's plan did in fact succeed in breathing new life into the game. In February of 2021, the game was back up to around 200 concurrent players and continued growing for a while. However, by July of 2021, it was back down to around 30 CCUs, and at this point, Meteoristic could see the writing on the wall. The last time he updated the game was August 21st, 2021. The game managed to bag 500,000 more visits after that, bringing it up to a grand total of 7.8 million before July of 2022, when its concurrent user count dropped to single digits once again. It had been almost a year since the game had been updated by this point. Meteor Studios was abandoned. Or so it seemed, because around August 19th, 2022, Meteor Studios would change ownership to someone new, someone bad, someone that would spell doom for not just rap battles, but for Meteor Studios as a whole. Joriz. Now, who is this Joriz fellow, you might be wondering? Well, that's what I was wondering too, so I tried to figure it out. And look, I've followed some pretty lengthy rabbit holes while researching stuff for my videos. Sometimes in order to figure out the answer to one thing, I need to figure out some other things first, and in order to figure out those other things, I need to figure out other things, and it can spiral pretty quickly. All those levels of recursion are usually pretty manageable as long as I'm taking notes. But I am not exaggerating here. Researching this guy might have been the most frustrating research I've ever done in my life. Not just for Roblox videos, but just in general. The rabbit hole associated with this guy is less like a rabbit hole and more like the labyrinth from the 1986 Labyrinth movie. It's freaking enormous, you could never explore all of it even in a million years. It's confusing, full of endless twists, turns, and generally weird things. The only difference is at the end of it all, instead of a very puffy-haired David Bowie, there's a big fat lump of disappointment. Because believe you me, it was tough research, but I got through it, and I found out exactly who this Joriz fellow really is. Joriz sucks. To understand why he sucks, let's take a look at this development team that he seems to have hired for Meteor Studios. Games aren't a single-person effort after all. Great things can be done when a team works together, and I'm curious to see who else besides Joriz helped spearhead this overhaul of rap battles. Whoops, looks like this Chowie person got terminated. Thankfully, we can see who they are through Roblox's users API and get a look at their profile through Rblx.trade. Joriz the developer, huh? I guess this must have been an old alt account of his. I also notice, under this account's creations, 2 more games with tons of visits that look mighty similar to the current incarnation of the rap battle game in terms of their amount of clickbait spam. Looks like Joriz's MO, alright. I also notice another account with the display name Chow here. It's not terminated, so we can easily see that it has more clickbait games, and it's in all the groups that the other Chowie account was in, plus a few more. And it's friends with Joriz. I think that's enough to pin it as another alt. Another account, Chowie is not mine. It has no friends, followers, groups, or games, but considering its name and the fact that it was another developer, I think it's safe to say that it's also a Joriz alt. One of these guys is literally called Joriz Group Holder, and the owner of the entire group is an account called Hold to Gold with the display name Chowie Hold. Almost all of the accounts in this developer rank have very throwaway default looking avatars and/or are chock full of clickbait spam looking games, badges, and groups. I don't have any definitive proof of this, but I'm starting to suspect that every single one of these accounts is Joriz. And that's just the accounts in Meteor Studios. He has more. A lot more. If you look at the groups that some of these alts are in, you can see that, like the games, they look rather clickbaity and spammy too. I'm seeing a lot of Pet Sim X, Rainbow Friends, Adopt Me Pets, and big cartoony font in these icons. Many of these alts are also high ranks in these groups, like admins or devs, or even owner. I wonder why that would be. Let's check out one of these groups. Oh my freaking god, this man is everywhere. This dude's alts span across dozens and dozens of groups far and wide. Every time you click on one, you find another group that it's in that contains even more alts, and you find even more alts in its friends and followers lists. I've put every Joriz alt account I could find into a list, and I'm going to read you that list now. Keep in mind that these are just the ones that are directly connected to Joriz in some way. There are probably even more out there that he keeps separate from his main hustles, but the ones that are connected to him are Jor1Z, Joriz Gaming, for 60 Joriz, Joriz Holder, Joriz Holders, Joriz Group Holder, Joriz Group Holder, Joriz Group Holder 2, Joriz Holding Hands, Joriz is the Holder, Joriz Gaming Oblox, Frosty Joriz, Joriz Dev, Joriz, Chowie my dog, Chowie is not mine, Hold to Gold, Chowie 2D, Roblox Kid 2013, LOL, Burrot Admin, Bloop Bloop 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 1, Upu Mom Sang, New Fissy Pets 1, New Fissy Pets, Configure Group 26, Oki 1111, Izzy is a meanie, Galaxy Queen 50,000, I What If I, Lele is Cool 289, It is Stanley 666, Lily 025631, and Nikiulai. Under the majority of these groups and alts, you can find the same clickbaity looking games over and over again. Brookhaven, Wednesday, Adopt Me, Pet Sim X, Mr. Beast, Squid Game, SpongeBob. All of it spammed over and over in all caps with as many flashy colors and emojis as possible in order to reel kids in. And do you want to know what happens when you play one of these games? Are you sure? Are you sure you want to know? Cause I kinda wish I didn't know. You get slapped in the face with every single microtransaction you could possibly fit into a game while still being able to call it a game and not a highway robbery. Speed coil, jetpack, flying carpet, grappling, gravity coil, Santa sleigh, Frost Dragon, limited time, only, Shadow Dragon, limited time, taser, Squid Game soul, finish for a surprise, here for admin, core blocks, say slash headless or slash reveal all glass, skip all, Robux, screw you, give us your money. Well, at least the game is fun. Right? Yeah, I'm definitely a big fan of spending 15 minutes marking out which spots on a Squid Game bridge are safe to walk on, only to have the fabled prize at the end be that it just resets you to the beginning. That's my favorite thing to do. And we're not even done! That's just Joriz. Joriz isn't alone in this venture. He has friends. I've been tracing out this network of clickbaiters for 3 days. I'm very tired. And I've found a lot of alts and a lot of connections between them. So much so that I believe I've found entirely separate alt armies owned by entirely different people than Joriz, all of which serve the exact same purpose. The ones I've found so far are Aaron, Bianca, Barcelona, and Ray, and their lists of alts are dozens long. Look at this scroll down of just their accounts. It's insane. But in addition, I've also found a whole laundry list of other people who are doing this as well. I don't have any alts to connect these people to, but they're definitely involved somehow. I found one of them, Vorky Dev, in a Discord server in a group Joriz was in, plotting to buy the entire thing. The end result is a document full of offending accounts and games associated with them that spans 13 pages. And it's not even comprehensive. There are so many other accounts connected to these people that I didn't get to explore because I simply didn't have the time. I'll link that document in the description. Feel free to read through it if you want your brain to bleed. Now, I wanted to give Joriz the benefit of the doubt here at first. The games he and his friends make are super scummy, yes, but Meteor Studios was his group, so he could do what he wanted with it. It was sad that he decided to just completely axe the rap battling game just because it wasn't making him enough money, but at the end of the day, that's his business. Sure, the games are super clickbaity and packed with an obscene amount of game passes, but he's not really doing anything against TOS per se. He just made a bad game. Why should I care? But then I checked out some of the other groups he and his alts own, and why does he own a group with 15 members called Audrey Dior Clothing Group? That's not his name. He doesn't seem to be connected to Audrey Dior at all, in fact. They're not friends or following each other. Why does he own a group called Kai the Saiyan Fan Club? That's not his name either. Mar Army? I'm guessing that refers to this Maria person, but they're not in the group anymore, and Joriz is. I don't think Joriz started any of these, actually. They all seem to be completely random and unrelated to each other. Why is he holding so many groups that don't belong to him? Initially, I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt again. He probably just offered to buy these groups like that Vorky guy did. Most of them seem to have been inactive for a couple of years, and I'll bet their former owners were perfectly okay with handing them over and getting paid for it. And then I saw this group shout. Well, that doesn't seem consensual. Hey guys, I was the old owner and then my account got hacked for 1 week, then they stole my group in Robux. The sad part about the owner is that he was a normal player until it got hacked and a Adopt Me scam was put on it and he can never play again on this account. Guys, leave the group and report the creator. He is a huge scammer. The owner is he just steals other kids' accounts. Imagine working for a scam game, Jordan. Childish. So, yeah, the guy just scams and hacks people out of their groups so that he can use those groups to host scam games to scam more people. And I think, based on that, it's pretty safe to say that he stole Meteor Studios as well, and in doing so, my one and only significant contribution to the world of game development. 7.8 million visits, gone. Joriz, in the words of DJ Monopoly from my RB Battles video, you suck. Hi, I'm editing. So a big thing I was trying to do while researching this video was get in contact with Joriz himself, because I always want to get like both sides of the story. I want to give him a chance to defend himself. I don't want to be making all these accusations about him and not give him the chance to defend himself. But for a guy who has so many alt accounts, this man is a nightmare to try to contact. The most I could find was this old inactive Facebook that looked like it was made by an 11-year-old. No one could tell me anything about this man. He was like Voldemort, he who must not be named. But then I joined a Discord server for a group that he has high rank in. For some reason, no one in there knew Joriz, but a person in there thought he knew exactly what Joriz was doing and decided to clue me in. I'll be keeping this person anonymous because I said I would. So this person had a few interesting things to say, one of which is that groups are often chosen to host these games under because they make DevXing easier. So that confirms that they are making real money off of this game. They're in it for the real money, not just the Robux, which is interesting. The many accounts is just to avoid bans and warnings, because one account might get banned or deleted because you are scamming people, so you just switch over to a fresh one, and that allows you to remain in good standing with Roblox, even though you have a history of banned accounts. But the main takeaway from this is that apparently there is this thing that Roblox does. I have no idea why. If a group's owner leaves the group will have no owner and it'll automatically get closed after a short while. But if you join it before it does get closed, you just get to claim ownership of the group. And there are games out there that allow you to join and scan for unclaimed groups and then actually claim the group yourself. I actually tested one of the games out myself and claimed my own group. It took me 5 hours. I'm guessing that when Joriz did it, it took a lot less time because more groups were unclaimed. But yeah, it's called Revenge. You can join if you want. It's pretty chill. So I think that's the explanation for why this Joriz holder account has so many tiny groups that don't seem to host any games. He was just like collecting groups in case he ever needs them to host games on. Now, that still does not let him off the hook for scamming people and hacking them out of groups, because there are still a bunch of group shouts from people who claim to be the original owner of the group and said that they were scammed out of their group. So there's definitely still something weird, something really shady going on with this guy. I just wanted to give you an update that that is probably how he is doing that, with some of the groups at least. Thank you very much to this anonymous tipper, and back to the video. So, what am I gonna do about this? We've already established that this guy's network of alts and fellow scammers spreads far and wide across the dark corners of Robloxia. He and his crew are basically the mafia of Roblox. I alone don't stand a chance against them. Even if I were to report every single active account in my list and they were all terminated, he'd probably make 100 more to replace them within a day. Besides, getting people in trouble or taking revenge on them isn't what I'm about. I'm not a confrontational person. The only reasons I'm involving myself with this situation at all are 1, it was my work he stole, and 2, a big component of my channel is the preservation of Roblox history, and Joriz's practice of taking groups and games that aren't his and transforming them into scammy clickbait spits directly in the face of that. And I was sitting there thinking of what I could possibly do, and then I remembered. It's my build. I still have access to a copy of it. I don't reckon Meteoristic cares that much about it anymore, considering that he was last online 6 months ago, and at the time it was stolen, he hadn't updated it in a year. And Joriz clearly doesn't care about it, considering that he was the one who wiped it off the face of the earth. I'm the only one left on Roblox with a copy of this game, and in the world of game preservation, that can only mean one thing. I have to release it to the world. So, I did. The game is called Nitro Rap Battles, and it's open to the public right now if you want to check it out. Almost everything is in perfect working order, except for a few game passes. The shark pet is invisible, and most of the premium hats don't work, but everything else is completely functional. So, if you've ever wanted to support your boy with a donation or two, maybe go do that. Links in the description. But if those game passes are too expensive, or if you don't care about game passes and want something you can take with you all across Robloxia, why not check out some merch from my new fan group? That's right, I've opened a brand new Roblox group for all of you called Nitrobloxia. In it, there's many different activities you can do, such as talk in the group wall, read other people's messages in the group wall, join my Discord server where there's several different channels you can talk in instead of just the group wall, and buy some official Nitro Lord clothes for your avatar. These are the designs we have now, there will be more in the future, and there will also maybe be game nights. Also, Nitrobloxia the group currently shares the same cancer immunity property as Nitrobloxia the Discord server. Not a single person in that group has died from cancer yet, guys. I'm telling you, it'll do you wonders. Alright, shameless shilling's over. I know there's one and only one question you've had on your mind this entire video, and that's, what actually is this game? What does the gameplay look like? And I was actually excited to find that out too, because if you remember, I haven't played this in 2 years. I have no idea what this game's like aside from the 10 minutes I spent in Roblox Studio making sure everything works properly. So, how does this game actually play? Alright, I have invited a bunch of people from my Discord server, and we're going to see if this game doesn't crash into flames. Time to throw down. You suck like an egg. I'll break your legs. You think you are cool, but you're actually a fool. I can rhyme like a beast. You are just a pile of yeast.
All right.
Oh, frick.
Let's show 'em what you got.
That would have been the best closer. That would have been the finisher. Oh no! I'm stinky! Ah! No, I'm being eviscerated. Let me live, man. Stop. No, no, no. I thought you did like me. Ah, he didn't mean it. Maybe you should have been. Maybe think about, being prepared next time. You know, I just realized this game doesn't have any music. It's kind of weird. Hey, about what I said earlier. I didn't mean any of it. Oh, wait. Yeah, I did. Get him with the sneak attack. You whack. You make me have a heart attack. I will kill you with a thumbtack. That'd actually be pretty impressive. Oh, frick. It's not my turn anymore. Shoot. Okay. What's he gonna spit back? Oh! Man, you're gonna have to get me a coupon sometime. I love the Shake Shack. I mean, I did say I would kill you with a thumbtack, so that's kind of warranted. Bank? I don't know.
Let the world know who you love.
I'm the best rapper. I'm also the YouTuber here, so I'm kind of corrupt. Oh no! I suck. I'm not good at rapping, guys. Okay, so I did hear swords earlier, but I guess people have kind of abandoned the arena, which kind of sucks. Oh! Ha! Let's see how people are enjoying the underground sewer area. No! I can't get to the underground sewer area because people are too good at sword fighting. What monster have I created? Alright, no one's come to the sewers yet. Oh, there's one person. Gotta say, I did not do as good of a job at making all of this art look like graffiti as I thought I did. But I do think that this sewer place is the best place in the map. Do you like the sewers? Yes! That's exactly what I wanted it to smell like. Okay. There is a secret in the electric water. Alright, let's see what people think of the obby. First to complete the obby gets a special role. Looks like the orange guy is heading up the pace. No one can beat him. He's unstoppable. Let's go! I think he made it to the end. Yes, he did. What I'm noticing is that a lot of people don't seem to be bothering with the distractions and the minigames and stuff, and just looking at the raps, which is interesting. So I think all of my building might have been like a waste of time. I don't think it got them a lot of hype, but you know, I'm still glad I did it. I'm also noticing that there's like a lot of echoiness. Like, I think there's a script in here that makes all of the sounds echo, and it's like really sophisticated. Like, it depends on the width of the room. So kudos to whoever made that, because it definitely wasn't me. I have a skinwalker in my you should get that checked out. I am a rapper. You are not. We're gonna beat you with a pot. Please don't get mad for what I will say, but you look kinda like a pumpkin today. Your fit is so orange. It is weird. You probably have an ungroomed beard.
Ooh, how you gonna power through that one, homie?
Probably, honestly, if you've seen my performance at Sword Fight on the Heights 4. That's true, I probably would, except I actually don't know how to use the trowel to hide. I'm terrible at defense. This dude really knows his brick battling, I'm proud of him. I do, yes. This is an alt, because if you don't know, my main got banned by Elon Musk. Long story. Humongous. That is your title. You are forced to regularly read the Bible by your parents, who feed you 1 meal a day. And that is all I have to say. Was that mean? I feel like it might have been a little bit mean. I hope that guy doesn't actually have that kind of situation going on. I'll be fighting in the Red Cliff Army. You're just a peasant. I'm crushing Corblock's bones. You're crushing your own dreams. You can't come back from this. I'm just too good. Yeah, you are too good. And you probably won't ever be back again. I'm probably gonna lose. He was actually really good. Yeah, L for me. Okay, 2 L's in a row. That's nice. Okay. So yeah, that's about it. Final thoughts I'd like to mention before I go. 1, before you comment, yes, I am now aware that this game was kind of a bit more than just similar to auto rap battles. It seems that the rap battling UI and sound effects, the top rappers leaderboard, and these 2 monkey smashing machines, please don't clip that out of context, were ripped directly from that game. According to the Roblox wiki, auto rap battles has an extremely turbulent ownership history, and at one point it was leaked on Vermilion, which if you don't know is sort of a black market Roblox leaking site, and I guess Meteor Studios took advantage of that. I was not involved with that, just so you know. I didn't even realize the similarity until I actually played auto rap battles for the first time while researching for this video, so I guess credit to the auto rap battles devs as well. I'll leave that in the description of the game alongside the credit to Meteor Studios. And 2, remember to join my new fan group as well as my Discord server. Like I said earlier, both of those currently have a 100% effectiveness rate at stopping cancer, so if you join both, you'll actually be 200% immune, and what's better than that, you know? Alright, I've rambled on for long enough. That'll about do it for today's video. I've been Nitro Lord, and I will see you all next time. Bye!